Astonishment, reflection, and deep regret are the emotions that washed over me after researching and learning about more than 100 Black public figures connected to dizzying changes in physical appearance, career trajectories, and the tumultuous events behind the halo. Hello everyone, we are our Memory Vault, and this is the video. 35 Most Handsome Black Actors You Can't Recognize Today, Part 1. This greatly impacts how we view the price of glory and the cruel hidden corners of Hollywood, and it might just leave you stunned. This video is perfect to play while you are resting, enjoying a meal with your family, or doing chores around the house. All the information in this video has been carefully researched and gathered from multiple sources. If there are any oversights, please leave a comment below to help our channel continue to grow. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and ring the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. Now, let us step right into the stories of our first figures. Will Smith. Topping our list today is Will Smith, a name once considered a box office guarantee and the symbol of exemplary conduct in Hollywood. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, he dominated the big screen with blockbusters like Independence Day and Men in Black. Audiences loved Will Smith not only for his acting talent, handsome looks, and charm, but also for his image as a family man, always appearing with a radiant smile and an incredibly friendly attitude. Yet that great life was dealt a fatal blow by just one moment of lost control at the 2022 Academy Awards. Through the lens of psychological analysis, the incident on live television that year was not merely a fleeting impulsive act. It seemed to be the rupture of a massive block of pressure that had been suppressed for 3 decades. Having to brace oneself to maintain a perfect, flawless shell before millions of scrutinizing public eyes is an invisible psychological burden, but one with terrifyingly destructive power. When his life partner was made a joke of in front of the whole world, the boundary of restraint was broken. However, the price paid for breaking it was far too expensive. Hollywood is inherently a machine with no room for tolerance. In just a few short minutes, a monument built with 30 years of sweat and tears collapsed. A series of lucrative contracts were frozen. Major studios turned their backs, and the image of an elegant gentleman suddenly became the center of criticism. To audiences who have been through many ups and downs, Will Smith's story brings a poignant sorrow. It is a costly lesson in emotional management and the impermanence of fame. The world can praise you for decades, but they are also ready to turn their backs and judge you for just a split-second mistake. Denzel Washington. In the second position is a true gentleman of world cinema, Denzel Washington. With 2 prestigious Oscar statuettes, he represents the majesty, wisdom, and depth of the art of acting. But few know that before becoming a monument, Denzel in his 20s was an aimless young man struggling between career choices from medicine to sports. His illustrious career did not begin with glamorous calculations, but originated from a highly spiritual moment, a prophecy at a small church in New York in 1975, when an elderly woman affirmed that he would travel the world and inspire millions of people. Let us reflect on this power of faith. There are times in life when a person only needs a single spiritual anchor to moor their dreams. Denzel Washington used that very prophecy as a guiding compass, stepping into the arts with a rare attitude of serious and persistent labor. Unlike many stars of his time, who often got entangled in private life scandals, Denzel chose to shine through sheer ability. His resolute eyes and poised demeanor on screen are the reflection of a solid inner self, unshaken by the temptations of the entertainment world. For mature audiences, Denzel Washington is not just an actor, he is a model of character. He proved to Hollywood that a black artist can absolutely conquer the peak with stillness, dignity, and pure talent without having to trade it for scandalous gimmicks. Even as time passes and his appearance takes on the weathering of the years, his essence and greatness remain an immortal legacy, passing the flame of aspiration for countless generations of young actors to follow. The monument of Denzel Washington rose from a prophecy. But right up next, another box office legend had to crawl his way up from the darkest abyss of his life on his own. Do not take your eyes away, because that miraculous journey of rebirth will surely leave us astounded. Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson currently holds the record as one of the highest-grossing male actors at the box office of all time. From Pulp Fiction to Marvel blockbusters, he brings a sharp, powerful, and unmistakable demeanor. However, if we turn back the files of the past, we will see a completely different Samuel L. Jackson. A lost man submerged in the mistakes of youth and once pushed to the edge of the abyss by his dependence on toxic habits throughout the 70s and 80s. Through the lens of family empathy, Samuel's journey to rise up is one of the most miraculous stories of rebirth in Hollywood. The strength that pulled him out of the dark swamp was not a miracle from above, but the boundless love and fierce determination of his wife and daughter. The moment his family resolutely placed him in a rehabilitation center was the turning point that changed his entire destiny. It proves a profound truth. When people are at their weakest and have lost themselves the most, the protection and patience of family is the only and most powerful life preserver. Samuel's breakthrough in his 40s, an age when many actors have already begun considering retirement, is a fiercely inspiring message. To you, the audience who have tasted mistakes and stumbles, his life affirms that it is never too late to start over. The scars of the past are not the end, but the very material used to mold a resilient life bravery. From a man with no tomorrow, he stood up to become a box office empire, proving that the greatest salvation always lies in the ability for self-awakening and the desire to live within each person. Morgan Freeman. In the fourth position is an incredibly gentle and respectable face, Morgan Freeman. He possesses a distinctive, warm, deep voice capable of soothing the soul and conveying the most profound philosophies of human life. He often takes on roles symbolic of wisdom, even supreme beings. Yet behind that calmness and majestic demeanor is a tireless battle with prolonged physical pain, the after effects of an incredibly severe traffic incident in 2008. Let us analyze the life philosophy behind the silence. That horrific accident caused Morgan Freeman's left arm to almost completely lose its mobility, accompanied by chronic nerve pain with no cure. But instead of stepping back and choosing a leisurely life in his twilight years, he continued to diligently dedicate himself to cinema. Observant audiences will notice that in almost all events or films later on, he always skillfully hides his left hand or uses a specialized medical compression glove. Never complaining about his illness in the media shows the character of a resilient man. For audiences entering middle age and their senior years, Morgan Freeman's image brings priceless comfort and motivation. He showed the world that age and physical wear and tear cannot dull the will to dedicate oneself of a true artist. Pain can torment the body, but cannot subdue a vast soul. Morgan Freeman continues to work, continues to tell wonderful stories for humanity, quietly turning personal pain into healing energy for millions of audiences globally. Eddie Murphy. Closing this first segment is Eddie Murphy, a comedy genius who shook the box office in the 80s and 90s with hearty laughs and an inimitable, charming acting style. At his peak, he was Hollywood's King Midas, touching any film and turning it to gold. However, the sparkle of fame often comes with unpredictable traps. A sensitive incident related to his private life in 1997 dealt a heavy blow to the image he had painstakingly built, causing his career to falter and face a wave of backlash from the public. Through the lens of analyzing the tribulations of celebrities, Eddie Murphy's incident shows a harsh truth. The entertainment world is always waiting to magnify every mistake. A thoughtless decision in the dark of night overshadowed decades of providing laughter to the audience. Yet the way Eddie faced the eye of the storm is what is truly worth reflecting on. Instead of getting swept up in noisy justifications or trying to cling to attention at all costs, he chose to take a step back. He repositioned himself through profoundly humane animated and family films like the Shrek series, gradually winning back the affection of the public. Eddie Murphy's transformation in his later years brings a poignant reflection for the audience. From a loud, partying star, he chose a more private life, enjoying simple happiness beside his large brood of children. It reminds us that When the applause gradually thins out and the stage lights go dark, the only thing that can bring eternal peace to the soul is not fame, but the warmth of family. Eddie Murphy went through enough of the glories and humiliations of human life to realize what truly is the safest haven of his life. Eddie Murphy's trade-off with fame was already a costly lesson, but the tragedy of having to trade one's entire childhood to grow up under duress of the next star will be even more heartbreaking. Please continue to accompany us to uncover this haunting hidden corner. Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne is an iconic face, the man who sculpted the image of the majestic and wise leader, Morpheus, in the blockbuster The Matrix. His calmness and dignified demeanor on screen make the audience always feel a sense of absolute trust. Yet few know that that quiet and profound character was forged from an incredibly reckless decision of youth. To grasp a life-changing opportunity, the 14-year-old boy Lawrence back then lied about his age, claiming to be 16 to participate in the massive film project Apocalypse Now. That young boy had no idea that decision threw him into one of the harshest trials that even a grown adult would find hard to endure. Let us analyze the instability of being force-ripened psychologically. For 2 long years following the film crew through harsh tropical jungles, facing storms, diseases, and an exhausting work intensity, Lawrence had to trade away the innocence of his teenage years. Surrounding him were the horrific pressures of adults on the verge of a breakdown due to the massive workload. I highly admire his endurance. While his peers were sitting on school benches, Lawrence had to learn how to survive in a work environment full of extreme stress, witnessing seniors depleted both physically and mentally. However, that harsh crucible could not burn away his talent. On the contrary, it forged a Lawrence Fishburne who was brave and hardened against all storms. To audiences who have experienced a difficult youth, his story brings deep empathy. It proves a philosophy. The most brutal pressures are sometimes the catalysts to create the brightest diamonds. He stepped out of that trial with a soul much older than his actual age, using those very thorny experiences as material to brilliantly transform into countless heavyweight roles, etching his name into the legendary temple of world cinema. Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle is one of Hollywood's most highly skilled actors, possessing the ability to diversely transform from deeply conflicted internal roles to brilliant superheroes. However, his journey to the peak was a long road full of prejudices and the unspoken injustices of the cinematic capital. For many years, despite his innate talent, he was only assigned faint supporting roles valued far lower than his true ability, simply because of invisible barriers regarding skin color. Through the lens of analyzing humanity and art, the brightest highlight in Don Cheadle's career is not just his acting skills, but his courage to speak up for what is right. When the film Hotel Rwanda premiered in 2004, he not only excellently portrayed a silent hero who saved thousands of lives, but he also brought that story into real life. He strongly criticized the international community's indifference to humanitarian tragedies. I assess that this action contained an incredibly massive risk trade-off. For a black actor to bluntly condemn the system could cause him to lose the favor of the Hollywood elite, directly threatening his blossoming career. But Don Cheadle chose to stand on the side of conscience instead of personal safety, and kindness always has its own way of bearing fruit. Despite the difficulties, his talent could not be overshadowed. His participation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe later on was like a well-deserved reward for a steadfast artist. To audiences who always uphold moral values, Don Cheadle's story is an inspiring lighthouse. It reminds us that no matter how unjust society is, maintaining one's true self and speaking up for the vulnerable will always create an eternal legacy, far surpassing all the flashy awards of the entertainment world. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes was once the uncrowned king of Hollywood action films in the 90s. His appearance in the Blade franchise opened a new era for dark superhero films. Possessing a muscular physique, masterful martial arts skills, and an extremely cool magnetic demeanor, Snipes seemed like an immovable boulder. He stood at the peak of fame, holding a fortune of tens of millions of dollars in his hands. Yet his tragedy did not come from a lack of talent or the profession's rule of elimination, but from very mistakes in managing his own life. Let us analyze the illusion of power syndrome of those at the peak of glory. When a star is surrounded by endless adulation, it is very easy for them to lose their realistic perspective and easily believe in misguided advice from those seeking to profit. Wesley Snipes. Getting entangled in a legal vortex regarding tax issues and having to trade his own freedom for 3 full years is a highly bitter ending. I am deeply regretful to assert that he was not an ignorant person. Rather, he was simply a victim of subjectivity, trusting the wrong people and believing that the halo could shield any mistake from the law. The period of lost freedom stripped Wesley Snipes of the most brilliant years of his career. When he returned, the entertainment world had changed dizzyingly, and the throne of action films had new owners. To audiences with a wealth of life experience, his story brings a profound warning about the value of caution. No matter how resoundingly successful, we are placing trust in the wrong places and lacking clarity in decisions related to societal norms can wipe out the efforts of an entire lifetime. It is proof that defeating opponents on screen is easy, but conquering temptations and keeping one's feet firmly on the ground is the most difficult challenge. Forest Whitaker. Forest Whitaker is one of the greatest and most internally profound actors in Hollywood. The characters he portrays always carry a melancholic, complex beauty and full of psychological weight. The special thing that makes his brand is his eyes with a congenital ptosis, drooping eyelid condition. In the years he was just taking his first steps into the profession, this physical flaw was once a major barrier, causing him to be rejected at countless auditions. People advised him to seek medical intervention to have a normal face like any other actor. But Forest Whitaker refused. Through the lens of analyzing the acceptance of one's true self, the decision to keep that congenital feature is a rare bravery. He turned the very thing the world considered a defect into a sharp artistic weapon. Thanks to that deeply conflicted and melancholic gaze, he transcendently portrayed heavyweight roles, peaking with the role that brought him the prestigious Oscar statuette. I assess that Forest Whitaker taught the world a beautiful lesson in self-respect. No physical appearance is imperfect if we know how to use it to tell stories that touch the very depths of the human heart. The true beauty of art does not lie in the symmetry of the face, but in the expressive power of the soul. Yet the laws of nature spare no one. As age increased, the drooping eyelid condition was not just a cosmetic issue, but began to seriously threaten his vision, forcing him to accept medical treatment to protect the light for his eyes. Even though his appearance changed slightly after the treatment, his character and artistic stature will always endure. To audiences who always cherish intrinsic value, Forest Whitaker is a shining example of life's flexibility. He steadfastly protected his identity when necessary, but also knew how to compromise with health to continue dedicating himself to art, proving that the value of a man is measured by talent and intellect, not by the outer shell. Danny Glover. Closing this second segment is Danny Glover, the beloved actor, fiercely adored through the smash hit action franchise Lethal Weapon. On screen, he is a battle-hardened, strong, gritty police inspector who never backs down from any danger. However, few people know that before becoming a silver screen hero, Danny Glover had to face a deeply fearful and haunting personal battle. A congenital neurological disease that caused his body to frequently fall into uncontrollable seizures throughout his youth. Let us analyze the power of internal self-healing. Having to live with an unpredictable disease which could strike at any time, anywhere, was a massive barrier to his dream of becoming an actor. Medicine at the time could not provide a definitive solution either. However, instead of despairing or giving up, Danny Glover chose to look inward. By persistently practicing meditation, controlling his breathing, and building a state of calm mind, he performed a miracle that science also finds hard to explain. The disease gradually regressed and completely disappeared when he turned 30. I highly admire Danny's mental strength. It shows the miraculous connection between the physical body and the mind. When the soul reaches a state of stillness and balance, it can create invaluable healing energy sources. For audiences currently facing health issues in their twilight years, Danny Glover's story is a wellspring of inspiration. He overcame his own utmost fears to step into the light, confidently executing breathtaking action sequences and leaving his name on the Walk of Fame. His life is living proof. True strength does not come from muscles, but from a resilient will that never submits to the adversities of fate. Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker was once an unprecedented box office phenomenon, someone who commanded Hollywood's record-high salaries thanks to the resounding success of his smash-hit action comedy franchise. With his charming acting style, fast-talking delivery, and never-ending energy source, he quickly stepped onto the peak of fame, raking in tens of millions of dollars in a short time. However, Chris Tucker's tragedy did not come from a depletion of talent, but from a classic lesson of those who suddenly become too wealthy. A lack of financial management skills and self-control before material temptations. Let us analyze the instability of possessing a massive fortune when the mindset is not ready. Immersing himself in a lavish lifestyle, buying super mansions, yachts, and entrusting all his faith to uncommitted financial advisors pushed him into a deep pit of debt with the tax authorities. I view this as an invisible trap that many celebrities fall into. When cash flows in too easily, people often carry a subjective mentality, believing the halo will last forever. Chris Tucker's collapse is a harsh proof of the fact. You can be a genius on screen, but if you lack clarity in real life, million-dollar contracts are just castles built on sand. Having to sell off assets at a loss to overcome the consequences and quietly withdrawing from Hollywood for many years stripped him of the most brilliant period of his career. For our audience who are parents, Chris Tucker's story is a poignant reminder for educating the younger generation. Making money is already hard, but keeping the money and keeping a clear head before the glitter of wealth is 1,000 times harder. Sustainable wealth does not come from momentary flashes of income, but from disciplined knowledge and a measured lifestyle knowing when to stop. Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright is a highly skilled actor with rare academic depth. No matter what role he transforms into, he brings a sophistication, erudition, and respectable weight. The foundation of that calmness originates from an incredibly solid starting point. He once graduated with a degree in political science from a prestigious school and was expected to become an outstanding lawyer. However, right on the threshold of a career paved with roses and absolute guarantee of social prestige, he made a decision that shocked his entire family, abandoning the path of law to dive into the stage lights. Let us analyze the bravery when leaving the comfort zone. In life, striving to overcome difficulties to rise up is already an admirable thing. But daring to throw away a bright, stable future to pursue a precarious passion requires a far greater mettle. I believe that Jeffrey Wright's decision was not the impulsiveness of youth, but the deep call of an artistic ego yearning for freedom. The legal profession could bring him wealth and respect, but only art could fully liberate the rich philosophical reflections on human life churning inside him. His brilliant career later on, with countless prestigious awards, proved that the gamble from years ago was absolutely correct. To the parents watching this video, Jeffrey Wright's story is a highly meaningful message about understanding and respecting children. Success does not have a fixed mold. Sometimes, allowing young people to bravely turn onto a new path to live true to their most intense passions is the best way to create true talents, dedicating eternal artistic values to the world. Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding Jr. was once one of the most beloved names in America after the moment he received his historic Oscar. His classic line on screen and his energy-filled speech on the podium of glory became a part of pop culture. At that time, the whole world believed he would become the next immortal legend of Hollywood. Yet reality was the saddest script that no one could have expected. His career went into a freefall due to easy script choices, and more tragic still was the complete collapse of his personal image when he got entangled in serious legal troubles related to moral standards. Through the lens of analyzing the integrity of a public figure, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s story is a cruel warning about preserving one's true self. An Oscar can elevate a person to the peak of glory overnight, but it cannot guarantee their character for a lifetime. The fact that he had to face law enforcement agencies and was forced to participate in behavioral rehabilitation programs is a humiliating end for a talent once admired by millions. I feel extreme regret asserting that he single-handedly threw away his crown simply because of a lack of caution and respect for behavioral boundaries in society. In an era where public trust is an invaluable but incredibly fragile asset, the boycott of filmmakers against him is an inevitable consequence. To audiences who always uphold social morality, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s journey reminds us of an unchanging truth. Talent can help you open the door to success, but only moral cultivation and a standard attitude toward life will help you keep that position sustainably. 1 minute of indulgence can burn to the ground an entire career built with blood and tears. Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames is a familiar face of the action film genre, standing out with a muscular physique, a deep raspy voice, and a majestic demeanor. He left a deep mark through many global cinematic blockbusters. But perhaps the greatest, most beautiful moment defining the character of Ving Rhames does not lie in any movie, but in an impromptu act on the stage of the Golden Globe Awards. Right when his name was called in the most prestigious category, he did something that shook history. Leaving the acceptance podium, walking down to the audience seats, and handing that prestigious golden statue over to the legend Jack Lemmon. Let us analyze the greatness of humility. In an industry full of envy, fierce competition, and where everyone yearns to be recognized, Ving Rhames' action was like a cool stream washing away all selfishness. It was not a media stunt, but originated from the utmost respect for a senior who had dedicated his whole life to art. I assess that the moment he placed the statue into Jack Lemmon's hands, he threw away his personal ego to honor the values of the roots. He understood that the success of the next generation is always built on the shoulders of those who came before. For audiences who value the tradition of respecting the teacher, revering the teachings, this image brings a choking emotion. Awards can be cast and gold can fade over time, but the noble character and humility of Ving Rhames shine eternally. He taught both Hollywood and the world a priceless lesson. The greatest artist is not the one possessing the most golden cups, but the one who knows how to bow before great legacies and knows how to use sincerity to warm the hearts of colleagues. Taye Diggs. Taye Diggs was once the standard of masculinity, a modern Prince Charming archetype of Hollywood in the 90s and early 2000s. Possessing a radiant smile, polite demeanor, and heart-melting romantic roles, he was the dream man of countless young women. His family home was also once praised as one of the rare model families in showbiz. Yet when his decade-long marriage broke apart, bringing along the noise and the turning of backs from the media, that perfect gentleman image suddenly shattered, pushing his career into a prolonged frozen period. Through the lens of analyzing survivability in the new era, how Taye Diggs salvaged his career is an incredibly smart and highly inspiring lesson. Instead of immersing himself in impasse or resenting the indifference of producers, he chose to open another door himself by reaching out to the public through modern social media platforms. He shed the cold, serious image to show off a completely different side, humorous, charming, and relatable to the mass audience. I assess that this transformation required a massive ability to let go of the ego. Thanks to rebuilding his image through an optimistic, joyful lens, he successfully reconnected with fans, thereby clearing the path for new cinematic projects to find him. To audiences currently facing difficult turning points in life, Taye Diggs' journey is proof of the power of flexibility. When old rules are no longer effective, proactively changing, learning to adapt, and always keeping a positive spirit is the key to rebuilding success, proving that an old chapter closing does not mean the book has ended. Morris Chestnut. Closing. Part 1 of our list is Morris Chestnut, an incredibly bright face who was once the pillar of many iconic teen and romantic films. With a rugged beauty and calm acting skills, he was once expected to go very far. But the cinematic world is a fiercely cruel elimination machine where trends change in the blink of an eye. For over a decade, Morris seemed forgotten by Hollywood, his name drifting into faint film projects that didn't create a buzz in a context where black actors still didn't truly have a diverse playing field. Let us analyze the value of patience and loyalty to the profession. During the time of being overshadowed, many artists would choose to give up, change careers, or fall into negative habits, but Morris Chestnut chose to be silent, sharpen himself, and patiently wait. I highly admire that endurance of his. He understood that an artist's career is like a marathon, not a sprint. Keeping oneself always in a state of readiness to contribute, even when no one is paying attention, is a manifestation of professionalism at the highest level. And that steadfastness was worthily rewarded when the sequel to the work that made his name unexpectedly achieved resounding success in 2013, bringing him back into the orbit of A-list stars. For audiences who have tasted the feeling of being left behind, Morris Chestnut's story brings a massive hope. It is a song praising perseverance. Sometimes a period of silence and being forgotten is not the end, but a stepping stone to accumulate inner strength. As long as you do not give up on yourself, a second chance will always appear, and the most brilliant dawn usually comes right after the longest, quietest nights. Closing the first part, we hope the recent ups and downs have brought you profound perspectives on the bravery to rise up and the impermanence of the halo. Wishing you always relaxing, peaceful, and warm moments with your beloved family. If you found this video meaningful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to await the next part with our Memory Vault. Goodbye and see you again.